Okay, so today, right, the only thing pending now, right, with Playwright is just we have seen, right, we have already seen how things works. Like we have the Playwright framework ready, and we ran it on Windows, Linux, and EC2 instance of AWS. Then we yesterday learned how to create using Jenkins. Yesterday we learned about in Jenkins like how to create a freestyle job, right, which is like a single stage, right, a single stage. And we also learned yesterday how to create a pipeline. But yesterday when we were doing all the execution, everything, right, using Jenkins was happening on the local agent, which is my laptop, right, which is a Windows machine. Okay, now today, right, what is pending now on this entire topic of Playwright is we just want to understand, like, using Jenkins, how can we run it on a different agent which is not your local machine. So what we'll do is we will for this, right, we will create on the AWS infra, right. This is AWS. On the AWS infra, I will create an EC2 instance, which is like your server, right, or a machine, you can say. And here, right, I will configure this EC2 machine as a node agent in Jenkins. Now, when I would run things, right, through my Jenkins, it would not be executing on my local agent or my local machine. It would be executing on this EC2 instance. And that is exactly what happens in the project, right? What happens in the project is you have your underlying infra where you have all the servers and everything, right? Your Jenkins is also running on a separate server somewhere, right? Not on your local machine. But for our practices, we have installed Jenkins on our local, right? But that is not how things works. What happens is they have a dedicated server for Jenkins also, and they deploy Jenkins over it, right? They deploy Jenkins. So what they do is they have, again, this could be a server again running in AWS, right? Let's say again it would be an EC2 machine, but it would be running Jenkins only. Jenkins, right? Jenkins is running, and for this Jenkins, they would be attaching this as a node agent. Yeah, Anand, please.
Yeah, like at our organization, this is like the same setup, and even this Jenkins is in a specific Kubernetes pod.
Oh, they are using Kubernetes for this. Okay, great. But Kubernetes code, why would they use Kubernetes code?
I
Uh,
think the reason of the, like, they have segregated, different requirements. Like if something is related to data, then it is it is having a different pod structure. Then, and if it is something related to microservices, then something a different pod
okay,
structure.
okay.
That's how they have the DevOps team has segregated it.
And every day after the day they might be also closing it down, and then in the morning they're bringing it up, right? Because
Um, uh,
otherwise,
yeah, like they are like very on the toe. Like they're like they are taking care of this very actively. Even if they are not just closing and stopping, they even are checking, like, if there is a less requirement of resources for a specific service which they are monitoring over a period. So then the DevOps team themselves come up with some requirement that, okay, your particular service or a particular feature of a particular service is not exactly using the configuration that you have configured. So we are planning to lesser it down.
they're
So
not being used at the full
yeah,
capacity.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's a good observation. And if someone has those practices, it saves a lot of money because these are very costly affairs, right? If you should let
Exactly.
keep
Most of their conversation is starts with the cost and ends on the cost.
everything is budgeted, right? So yes, that
Agreed.
is how it is. And again, that is their SLA, right? That is their SLA on DevOps to make sure that they do not have any unutilized thing being consumed and not
Yeah.
any unnecessary thing being used, right? That is on their
Yes.
SLA. So they would be, their performance would be just on that part. Whatever they do,
Yes.
right? Whatever they do on the infra side, see, DevOps is the backbone of any project. Okay, devs
Ex-
provide you the application, but DevOps is someone who makes that application running, right? They give you the underlying infra. If
Yeah.
something goes wrong in the infra, everything goes for a toss. So but they are not hanged enough, I think.
I
Those guys do a lot actually.
I happened to come across one of the invoices accidentally,
Mm-hmm.
and the amount was exuberantly, and it was just for a month, and it was like somewhere around in lakhs. like around 30 or 40 lakhs of bill that was, you know.
It could be. It could be. I can tell you right from my experience, the monthly expense which I saw recently, not recently, maybe 2 years back, was per month we were incurring $10,000. So
Oh,
$10,000, if you see right, it comes out to 7 lakhs or 8 lakhs only, I believe. It is not
yes,
as expensive as you said, but imagine this is just one project,
yes,
right?
yes,
This is just
yeah,
one project, and you have, I mean, hundreds of different projects running. So you can imagine the cost involved. So
yeah. Several
so
projects, several services, every service is having their different mechanism of cost incurring.
right.
Yeah.
So that is how things are. But again, but this is the way forward, and this is how teams use it, right? So yeah, so it's good to understand like how things really work in the real world,
Yes.
right? So but again, whatever we are doing is not a match to what you might be doing in the real project, right? Because I am not a DevOps guy. I know what little bit I know about this test DevOps, and that is what I'm trying to teach you here, right? And but for the full picture of the things, right, I would encourage everyone, please go back and check your DevOps, right? Be friends with DevOps. I always say this. You don't need to be a friend with Dev. You should be a friend with Dev also, but DevOps try to be more friendly. If you do so right, you are going to see that they have a lot of tools under their sleeves, right, which helps them to which helps them to which helps them to automate a lot of things, which can become handy for you also, and it will also open up new area for you to understand things. I have done that in the past. Whatever DevOps I have been working with, they're all my friends, so I learn a lot from them. Whenever I have an issue, I just reach out to them and ask that, okay, this is my understanding. Can you please refine it? Although today I have this co-pilot and all, so I can ask a lot of questions to them. But earlier in the days, I was just doing this practice. I was reaching out to them and asking those questions. Okay, and having something being something which exists, right, and it is already running, so we have an advantage that we can go and check it to understand how things are working, and it opens up a lot of new boundaries for all of us. So always, right, always do not think like, okay, this is my box, I will be residing under this only. No. World is an open thing, right? So try to explore as much as you can. Everything helps, right? Even if you know a bit of something, it will come back, right? Maybe not today, maybe after 5 years. Okay, so everything else, people say, why to bother? No, we should be bothering. Whatever you can learn it. We have only one life, right? So we should be doing it. Okay, so so enough for this. Okay, so Ryan, right? So what we are going to do is what we will do, right? In our setup, I will have Jenkins on my local. Okay, so I'll be running it here, but I'll be on the AWS. I'll be getting an EC2 instance, and let me remove this. Right, so I'll be getting an EC2 instance, and I'll be connecting this EC2 instance as a node agent to my Jenkins. Now, whatever pipelines I will create, you know, right? I have created these two things yesterday. Now, if I run it now, it will not run on local agent. It will run on this EC2 instance. Okay. So, but there is a lot of preparation which we'll have to do. Let me just start writing it here. Now, what we'll do is on the AWS front, right? First of all, I will create an EC2 instance. Yeah, Anand, please.
Sorry to interrupt. So you mean that you will be submitting a job from a local Jenkins to an EC2 instance?
See,
Is that what you are?
what I'm saying is, Jenkins is running where on my local setup,
Yes, yes,
right? And Jenkins need a machine to execute things, right?
yes,
Which we call it as an agent machine, right?
yes,
Right. So till now, what was my agent machine? My local laptop,
local.
right? Try to understand, it is like a master slave kind of a thing, right? You have a master, which is a Jenkins tool, right? Which is running where? On my local laptop, correct? And it wanted, and I gave a task to Jenkins and said, okay, please go and run my job. Now I said, okay, let me give an instruction. Go run my job. Go run the job, right? Now, when I gave him the instruction, he would go and check, okay, where I can run it. So it checked, okay, I have my local agent running, which is working on the same laptop, right? This laptop only. So I will do what? I will use the resources of this laptop to run this job. What I will do is I will disable this, and I will enable a new agent, which is my EC2 instance, right? Now, when I will ask Jenkins to run the job, it will see whatever agents I have, right? And since I have enabled this one, it will go and execute things here. But this is not running on the local; it is running on this AWS, right? This is what we're going to do.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let's understand the process. How we'll reach out onto this, right? First of all, we'll go to AWS. We'll create an EC2 instance, right? Now, try to understand what does our job doing, right? If you see localhost 8080 here, I do not want a separate thing. Let's say here, right? This is our freestyle job, and this was our pipeline, I believe, right? FS Playwright pipeline. If you see both of them, right? In both the things, if I configure, if I show you what I was doing. Okay, if you see, right, what am I doing? I am just cloning the project, right? The project is getting cloned, and what is happening is I'm just running this command. This command is just for your project, right? It's just for your project. So let me just write it down. So what are we doing? We are cloning the repo, and we did what? We also did. We then run the project command. To execute our framework, right? That is what we did. We did this 2 steps. Now try to understand, when we were doing this, we were doing it on my local laptop, right? My local laptop already has Node.js. My local laptop already has all the browsers, right? My local laptop already has Java. My laptop already has the Google Chrome, right? So I do not have to configure them by myself, right? Again in the job, right? But when I will now create an EC2 instance, right, which is like a server, right? So I need all of these things over there also, right? I also need Git, right? Getting it? So what I will do is, what people do, right? They have 2 options. One could be that they can write all of this configuration thing, right, inside the job itself. Okay, inside the job. So now my job will not do only this. They will also do this part. But this is very cumbersome. Okay, this is very cumbersome, and people do not use this approach often. Okay, this is not a good technique. Rather, what they do is they prepare a EC2 instance, right? They will create a EC2 machine, right, on AWS, and then what they will do is they will first prepare this machine by installing all these softwares on it. Okay, so they will do this. Now your machine is ready. Okay, your machine is ready with all the required softwares. Now what you will do is you will just connect this EC2 machine with your Jenkins. Okay, with your Jenkins. So let's say this is your Jenkins. You will just connect this to this Jenkins by doing some configuration, which we will learn, right? So we'll do this. Now what will happen when I will ask Jenkins to run the job, it will go and connect to this EC2 instance, and it will find that I have all the required softwares. So now if I do this steps again, which is cloning the repo and running the project, it will work. Agree?
Okay.
Right? This is what will happen. Okay, this is what will happen. What people do after this, right? What people do is they do not want to let this EC2 instance running forever, right? No. What they can do is they prepare a machine, they download the new image, right, which has this required software also within it, right? And then they keep it there somewhere, right, with them. And then because of the scaling, right, which is available in your cloud infra, they can scale up a machine whenever they want, right, on demand. Okay, by patching that image on a new server. Okay, that is how things works. If you know about horizontal scaling, vertical scaling, right, then it might be making sense. But as of now, for your understanding, just understand that what we'll do is we'll create a hardware, that is by creating an EC2 machine on AWS. Then we will install all these softwares on it. So our EC2 machine is now ready. The next step which I will do is I will configure that EC2 machine to my Jenkins, right? And then the third is just to execute my job. Okay. These are the 3 steps involved. Again, easier said than done. So let's start seeing this. Okay. Yeah, Kiran, please.
I think so. You have mentioned vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Is it about the sharding and parallelization of test?
Okay, when I'm mentioning, see, when you said about sharding and the parallelization, it is in the context of automation testing, right?
Right.
When I was referring it from more from the infrastructure deployment,
Okay.
right? When I say horizontal scaling, see, horizontal means what? The horizontal is, sorry, horizontal is this one, right? This one. When you say, okay, I myself get confused. One means that, let's say you have a T2 micro machine, right? Which is a very
Mm-hmm.
small machine, which is with one processor, right? Now I said, okay, this machine is not enough for me. I will use a bigger machine, okay, a bigger machine. So I will say, okay, I will use a machine which will have 8 processors within it. So I am scaling, right? I had a small machine earlier. I will have a bigger machine, right?
Correct.
What do we call it as? I'm not. I'm confused between horizontal and vertical, but this is called as, I believe, horizontal scaling. Let's check. I'm get confused with that part. So one is this approach, right? That you use a bigger machine.
Right.
Second is that you could say, okay, I will use 8 different T2 micro machines, right? If you use 8 different T2 micro machines, every machine will give you one processor. So how many processor you have? 8 processors, right?
Right.
In total. So if you see your objective, if your objective was just to make sure that you have 8 processor machines, so you have two options. One, to get a bigger machine, or to replicate your machines as much time as you can. Both are called scaling, right? Both are called scaling. One is called horizontal scaling, second is called vertical scaling, right?
Right.
When you talk about automation thing, right? Automation framework, when you say about sharding, right? Sharding means what? Sharding means that you are dividing your test cases among multiple machines, right?
Right.
Sharding does not mean parallelization. It means, let's say you have 8 different agents machines, right? What you will do is, and you have, let's say, 800 test cases, and you want to execute. What will happen is, because of the process of sharding, your 800 test cases would be divided among these 8 nodes, right? And every node will receive how many? 100 test cases,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So they will run, right? They are running parallelly because they do not have any dependency to each other. So you have shortened up your time, right? By
Right.
dividing your test cases. Second is that you wanted to run, you have these 800 test cases, and among the, let's say, so these 800 test cases were divided against 8 node agents, and now every agent has 100 test cases, but those 100 test cases also you're running parallelly. Let's say you have 5 processor, you have a 8 processor machine. So what will happen inside this? Your 8 test cases are running parallelly. So if it was not running, it would have been running sequentially, right? And if you divide it up, you are again saving some time in the execution. Getting it?
Right.
So that is what I mean, that is one of the approach which people use in reducing their time of execution in automation. But again,
Mhm.
as I said, right, everything is easier when explaining, right? But when it comes to applying this, you need to know a lot of things. Okay.
Yes.
but
Understood.
but with this WebDriver IO, Playwright, and all this stuff, right? I think they have inbuilt capability of sharding, right? So, but again, they are giving you the capability of sharding, so you just need to enable it, which is okay. But the underlying infra is your responsibility, right? You need to make sure that you have a setup where you have 8 agents running, right, and all are connected, so that
Yes.
when sharding happens, right, it is dividing across all the agents.
Yes. Also, we have to take care of compilation of report as well.
Absolutely
Reports.
correct.
Yes.
Absolutely correct, right? That is how things are. But again, when you will say about compilation, I believe that is a responsibility of your underlying tool, which is your Playwright in this case, or WebDriver IO. They will have the responsibility of collecting all of it, right? And again, uh, this is what they will do at their end.
Okay.
So I don't think you will have to worry a lot about it. But what you have to be worried about is getting the agents first.
Right.
Okay, so
Yes.
that is how things are. And just to close our discussion of horizontal and vertical, let me just check which is called what. Horizontal versus vertical scaling. Vertical scaling. Yeah, horizontal scaling. Scaling out, right? This involves adding more machines. So horizontal means that you have a 1 T2 micro machines and you want it to scale up. You will say, okay, I will add some more new machines. So that is horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling is what? That you have a T2 micro and you wanted a 8 processor machine. You said, okay, I will buy a better machine, but I will still have only one machine. Okay, scaling up. This means upgrading the existing machine with more powerful hardware. Okay, this is called vertical scaling. Horizontal is you add more machines.
Understood.
Okay, and again, these are good terminologies, right, to remember, because people ask these questions in interviews also. Whenever people ask for test DevOps. Okay, so let's get started. Let's prepare our machine. I will have AWS console login. Sign into the console. I have enabled multi-factor authentication on my account, so that if my password goes out, right, I have a two-step process to get enabled. Okay, so that's why I had to push in that code over there. Okay, let me just check my cost. Did I incur any cost till now? No cost, right? So there is no cost involved till now. Great. I've been under the running under the free tier account only and within the limits. So let's go to EC2 instance. We'll go and create it. We will create this in US, okay, North Virginia. You can also create it in Mumbai region, but this is the best region to use. It has the it is their first region, right, which AWS launched it with, and it has the maximum capacity. Okay, so we'll do what? We'll say Jenkins. I'll just give a name, Jenkins agent. Okay, Jenkins agent, and this is Amazon Linux, which is free tier, and I have this T2 micro, and I will use key as the key pair. Okay, no, I would need one more thing, Jenkins key, right? Okay, let me do one thing. I'll get a new key. Jenkins new key. Okay, so I'm creating a key pair so that I can use it. See, Jenkins needs to connect to EC2, right? So how will it connect? Through SSH only, right? So it needs the private key which it can use to connect to the EC2 machine. This is that key which I will use. Okay. So create key, and it has been downloaded. Okay. I will use it from Jenkins to connect to it, and this is all fine. I'm using a 8 GB space, and number of instances is 1. So let's launch it. So my EC2 instance is created. Now the next part is I need to install the required softwares on it. So let's connect. It is initializing. Let's wait for a minute. Let's try to connect. Let's see. So username is EC2 user. Yes. Connect. Let's see what it says. It is able to connect. Okay. In the meanwhile, let me here also. Okay, this is Playwright, and again I have created this file for you, right, where I have put in all the code which I or the soft installation steps, right, which I'll be using to install things. Now, what I will do first? See, again, I will first update the package manager under the Linux, so that I can make sure that it has the latest changes, it has the latest updates on it. So I am becoming a super user, and then I will say, let me bring it on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to update. So this is, I'm just updating my package manager. Okay, so if there would be any new updates, it will be aware and it will fetch them. DNF update -y. Okay, great. Now I will install Java, right? The step to install. Why do I need to install Java? Because I want to run Jenkins things on it, right? And without it, it will not work. Okay. So I'll have to install Java. That's a prerequisite for running Jenkins or running services of Jenkins on it. So it will install Java here. Now also try to understand this concept, right? What I had was a blank machine, right? This was a blank machine. And now when AWS gave it to me, it was a blank machine just having the OS, right? So I should say blank when it's just a hardware, right? When I added OS on it, which is Linux OS, this is what I got, right, from AWS. Now it did not have the required softwares. I'm adding softwares one by one. Java, Node, right, Git, Chrome, right, and maybe a lot of other things, right? So in combination, I need a machine which has this, right? There are no, these are machines are not available by default, right? You have to prepare them. But let's say I am in need of these machines again and again and again and again, right? So what people do is they prepare a machine, a single machine like this, and then they take the image of the current software and the OS from this machine, right, and that gets you get that machine. So it is in the form of an image, and once you get that image, right, again, this is something I'm just telling as an extra information. We are not going to do all this. I'm telling you, right? So now you have the image. Now what you can do is next time you spin up a AWS instance, right, which is an EC2 instance, what you can do is you can just patch this image on this EC2, and then you do not have to do all of these steps again and again. Just patch this of single step, and you will have your server ready. And that is what DevOps do. Okay, but for us it does not matter, we have to do it. So I'm doing it, right? So Java is installed. Let us check the version of it. I have installed Java 17, right? So it is there. Now let's install Git. We have to install Git also. All right, what happened? Let us install our Node.js. npm, yes. So what we did was Node.js, Java, Git, and let's now get the other things also. We wanted to have what? Oh yeah, we wanted to have the browser also, right? Chrome browser. The Node is also installed. Let's get the Node browser. Sorry, the Chrome browser. If you notice this, right, this is very easy, right? You just need to know the steps, or you just need to have the commands and run them in sequence. People create shell files or batch files and put all these commands in a single file and just execute that file, and it brings up and it installs everything on that machine, right? And that is what DevOps do, right? They create a lot of shell files or batch files, right, to make their jobs easy. Okay, so they will not be running these steps manually one by one like me. They would be creating a file and then just execute that file on the server. And if you compare this process to your Windows machine installation, right, you would find this is much more easier. It's just a single step kind of an execution, and you can prepare your machines, I mean, very quickly. Otherwise, when it comes to Windows, we are in a habit of going to the UI, download the package, and then double click on it and go through the installation process, right, to install it. But here, since we do not have the GUI, this is the option we have, and I believe this is the best option to have. Okay, so we installed Chrome also, I believe. So we did what? We did Java, we did Node, we did Git, we did Chrome. What else is pending? Java, Chrome, Node. Okay, we have to also generate the SSH keys, right? So that we are able to clone the repo. So where is it? Here. Okay, it is done, right? So now we'll see the file. Okay, so we'll go under root dot ssh ls get id rsa.pub. This is my public key, right? Now let me open the project. This is the project, right? SSH keys. So let me just refresh it, and let's add the key. This is EC2 GitHub key. GitHub key, and I will just paste that thing from here. Public key. This is to make sure that if this EC2 instance would be able to connect to my GitHub account and able to clone my repo. Passkey.
So the couple of connections that we are doing here is the local Jenkins machine to be able to connect with our EC2 instance, and EC2 instance to be able to connect with our GitHub repository.
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Okay, so this is done. What we have more is we did this part, great. I think we have the required softwares. Let me just check. We have installed Node.js and everything, and we are, I believe we are good.
Will we need npm?
NPM is also installed.
Yeah.
With Node.js. We ran the command dnf install Node.js npm, so both got installed. If you check the version, node -v, we have 18th version of this, and npm -v, we have this version. So both are there. So I think I have the required tooling on this. Great. Let's go back to our jobs, to Jenkins, right? Now on the Jenkins, right? The first thing is I need to attach that EC2 instance here, right? Okay. How we'll do it? We'll go to the manage Jenkins. And over here we have the nodes section, right? You will see nodes. If you see, this is the node which we had till now. Okay. What I will do is, first of all, let's add a new node. I will add a new node and say it is EC2 node. Okay, and I will term it as a permanent agent and create this. When I do this, it will ask for a lot of details. Let's provide description. I will say EC2 instance to use as a node agent, for Jenkins server. Number of executors, I need only one. Okay, fine. Remote directory is mandatory. Okay, here what do we provide? We provide the location of the directory on which it should work on. See, when Jenkins will connect to the, let me click it on new board. Okay, see here. You have on the AWS, you have this EC2 instance, and on this EC2 instance, right? If you see, right, the by default the user which gets logged in is EC2 user, right? But what I did was I became a pseudo user, and now I have the powers of the root. You can see it here, right? I have the power of the root, right? Now root, you now when Jenkins will connect to the server, right? This is a Jenkins, right? Now Jenkins, so I'm trying to attach this as a node here, right? As a node here. Now when I'm doing this, what is required is that Jenkins needs a way to connect to this EC2. For that, I have downloaded this that key, right, from here, from the EC2 instance, right? Jenkins new key. What I will do is this has that private key, right? Private SSH keys, and public key is already in the EC2. Okay, so I will attach this key over here. But this key, right, is using the user. Which user? It is using the user EC2 user, not the root user. Okay, not the root user. So using Jenkins, you can access things inside this EC2 instance using this EC2 user, not the root. Okay, right? This is first thing. Second of all, since you are using EC2 user, you will not be able to access the folders which are meant for root. Okay. Now, when Jenkins has to work, right? You remember I told you Jenkins needs a workspace to work on. For every job it works on, it creates a separate folder. So it needs a location on the EC2 to understand where to create such folders, right? So what we'll do is we will give a path on this EC2 instance where it can go and create such folders, right? So since I'll be using EC2 user, I have to provide a location here, which is according to that. So what I'll do is I'll go here, right, and I will go to my EC2 user folder, which is accessible by that user. If you see, right, this is the folder which I have. What I will do is over here, right, I need to create one Jenkins folder, right? So I will go here, copy, and I will root directory. If you see, right, you need to have an agent needs to have a directory labeled directory dedicated to Jenkins, right? So we'll create that folder. We'll just provide this here, and we'll say let's say Jenkins. Okay. So now what this will do is when this Jenkins will connect to that agent, it will first of all, using that key, it will go and create this folder right over there. Okay, we go and create a folder over there, and we will see that call. And inside that folder, it will create a workspace so that it can have separate folders for every job, whatever you execute. Labels you can remove. Usage. Use this node as much as possible. Launch agent via SSH, right? And here that key will go. Host. I need to give the host, right? Host the IP address. So the IP address of my EC2 is let me just refresh. This is the one. Okay, public IP. Credentials. I need to add credentials. What credentials I have? I have only Porters, right? So let me create a credential. Jenkins, and I will use this only, but with SSH key. Global. Here, username is what? EC2 user. Okay. Enter directly the private key, and I will add the keys now. Let us see if I can open it up. Notepad. Always copy, Control C, and paste it here. And add. Okay, so let's just now use the user EC2 user. Okay, so I'm giving the IP address of my EC2 machine. I'm giving the credentials SSH private key to it, and I need to do what? Keep this agent online as much as possible. Okay, host key verification, right? Here I will say non-verifying. Otherwise, it will show unnecessary restrictions to me. So let's just put this way, and I will say save. Okay, now you can see I have two agents now, but to make sure that it works right, I will disable this one, the first one. Okay, I will disable this. I will disable it and make this node temporary offline so that the other node can get a chance to execute. Make this node temporary offline. Okay, great. Now if you go back, this is the node which is now available. Okay, so this is done. Now there is, so what we have done is, again, if you go by the process, we had created EC2 instance done. We have installed softwares on it. Installed softwares done. So these two are done. Third is Jenkins, right? We have added the node agent. So this is also done. Now the last part here, right, which is to configure Jenkins, right? We have not configured Jenkins. When I say configure Jenkins, if you remember when I was working on Jenkins using my local agent, right, I had to give the path of all my software so that Jenkins know where to go, and find them out, right? Like I need to give the path of Git, I need to give the path of Java, right? And I have to give path of Node also, right? So again, I will have to give this path as per the EC2 instance, wherever these are placed, right? I need to find the location of them and give it to Jenkins so that when Jenkins requires them to use, it knows the path of it. How to do it? Again, go to manage Jenkins. Under manage Jenkins, you will see tooling, right? See JDK installation. Currently, the path of the JDK is as per my local machine, right? Now this will not work. I need to find the path. Now the easiest way to find the path of any software is just go here and type the command where is Java. You see, you are given the path. It's a very handy utility here in Linux machines. Just give the path. Okay. Git. Again for the Git, you'll say where is Git. Git is placed here. Yes. Control C and place it here. Next thing, we want Maven. I don't need, so let it be. I don't care about it. A node, right? For node, it is node 18 which I'm using. So it is being used here. Where is node? Okay, so let's use this path and see if it works. Okay. Is there anything else? Allure I'm not using, so let's leave it. Let's apply and save. Okay, so everything is done. Fine. Now let's go to our job, which is my dashboard. What we'll do is we'll first of all run our freestyle job, right? This is what we ran yesterday, I believe. So the temp, right? So we'll go to the configure part again and just revisit what we have done here. So this is the project path, which is okay. Failed to connect to the error performing it. Okay, this is complaining because yesterday I removed that credentials from there. Okay, so need to also give the path to this SSH key, right? I removed that part. So what I'll do is, okay, just a second. I need to give the okay. Yeah, come on. SSH folder. This is the folder. This is the ID RSA which I need. It opens this. Okay, let me just close this. Okay, I know you cannot open. Open with Notepad++. So let me copy this. So this is my Jenkins GitHub key. Add SSH. Okay, so both are here now, and I already have it over there. It will work, okay. And day 27 auto, and this is the command which I wanted to run. Yeah, Anand, please.
There is a way to even check the connection also, right? I remember. Is there a
Yes, there is. I believe you're right, but as of now, there is a way to check it. I think while creating the credentials, I believe over there.
okay?
Okay, but again, it will work. Okay, it will work. Let's see.
Okay.
Now let me just save this. Okay, and let's see whether things work or not. So we have the required software and everything, right? Let us go to this instance, and we are under this folder, right? You can see, okay, you see, Jenkins folder is automatically created. First of all, it got created automatically here itself, right? I did not create it on this machine. Jenkins, because it was able to connect to this node agent, it was able to create the Jenkins folder here so that it can work on it. Okay, let us go here and see. Right, it is empty as of now. Let us go and execute this and see what happens. Let us check the console of it. So you can see, right, building remotely on EC2 agent, and you can see the folder location, right? Home EC2 user Jenkins workspace, this folder. If you would go and check here, it should have those folders. You can see, right? CD workspace. Let us check. You can see the job which I'm trying to run, right? It has created a separate folder for it. And now inside this, it would try to clone. Since it is doing for the first time, it will take some time. Let us wait. It will take some time. So if we go back to our, what we have done is we have configured this, right? And now we are just running the job. And once this job is running, it will be this time running on this EC2 instance, not on my local machine. You see, cloning the remote repo, it is cloning repository. It was able to clone, I believe. Let us see. Using Git SSH to set credentials. Okay. Avoiding second fetch. Okay, checking out revision. Day 27. Let us see if we got something here. See, I got it cloned, right? This is here. So okay. All that is failing. Great. Why it is failing? Let's see now. Okay. Now there's one more problem, right? What is happening here? What the command says: execute Windows batch command marked build as failure. Now let's go to our job. You see here, right? In your job, what are we doing?
Yesterday we were working Windows
on a Windows
machine.
machine, right? So I selected in the build sections, I selected run it as a Windows batch machine, right? As a window
Yeah.
batch command. That is a problem. Now I'm on Linux machine, so I need to make sure that batch will not work on it, right? Batch files does not work on Linux machines. It works using what? Shell files. Okay, so I have to select accordingly. So I'll come here. I'll just copy this command, remove this, and under the build step, I will say execute shell. And here I will paste the command and save this. Okay, now let's run it again and let's see what happens. So this has started running. Let's go to the console output. You see, it was able to run, right? See how quick it was. It is now npx playwright install, right? It is downloading Chromium Linux now. It has already done the npm install. It is now downloading Chromium headless shell. Why it is doing all this? Because I ran the command npx playwright install, and it installs all the custom browsers which Playwright provides. Okay, so now it has started running the program, running one test using one worker. You can see the this is my input file, right? And if it is executing, it would show me the product data, right, which is this one. So it means that execution is happening. And after this, yeah, Anand, please.
So actually the execution is happening on that EC2 instance. It is sending back these logs, which we are able to see on the Jenkins console output.
And why it is sending back? Because you're running it through Jenkins, right? Jenkins is managing that machine, right, as a node agent. And what happened was when you applied that SSH keys, right, there's a connection between that EC2 and Jenkins. And this is how Jenkins work, right? Whatever agent machine you use, right, all the logs are sent back to Jenkins master, and this is why you are seeing all this.
Understood.
Okay, and you can see it got completed, right? It got completed. Now there is one more thing, right? Again, if you would see over here, let us see the folder. You would see this Playwright report, right? Now again, you have a same problem. You cannot open this report here. You would need to push it to the S3 bucket, right? Let us create the S3 buckets. So we'll go to AWS. Now try to understand what I will do is I already have the EC2 machine. Now I'm going to create an S3 bucket. I'm going to create an S3 bucket, and I will enable all the permissions, whatever we have learned in that class, and then I will push my output artifacts right from here to S3 bucket. Okay. And that too, I will configure it in my Jenkins job, so I don't have to write that command specifically. Once the execution completes, it will automatically push that artifact to the S3. Okay. So here, right, I'll go to AWS S3. And S3 create bucket. General purpose, let's write Jenkins Playwright artifacts. Okay, bucket. Okay, and all of these are okay for me. Let's just create the bucket. The bucket is created. Let's go inside this, and we have to give some permissions. So we'll go here. Properties, static website, right? But before giving static website, let me give the permissions, right, so that anyone can access it. So I will first disable this block part. Confirm, right? This is done. Second is I will create a bucket policy generator. And this will be an S3 bucket policy. Principle would be to allow everything. And the action which I want is a get object. Get object. And AR and the resource which I want to work on is this one. So add statement, generate policy. Let's copy this. come back here and paste it here. Asterisk. And let's just save these changes. Okay, so policy is attached. I have enabled the services. What else I need to do? I need to also enable my static website hosting. So enable this and host a static website. It should have an index.html file, which it currently does not have, but it will have once I push the change. I'll push my artifacts, right? Once I push it, it will have it. Save changes. Now this is done. So this is the URL, right? Let's try to access this. If you see, it will have nothing. Okay, it will have nothing because there is no resource, there is no content found. Okay, the specific key does not exist, right? So it does not have anything. So that's why. Why? Because this bucket is currently empty. It does not have any objects. One last thing is I have to create an IAM policy also to attach it to EC2 so that EC2 can send the artifacts to the S3 bucket. Okay, that link is not there. By doing all this, right, I just prepared an S3 bucket and enabled static website hosting, and it gave me a URL which I can use to access on my browser, right? This is my local laptop, and I have enabled the public access and I have given the permissions to access it from the browser, right? So I can access this URL, right, in the here, and my report can view, right? But to view the report, this S3 bucket needs to have that report, right? How will it have it? EC2 will push it, but EC2 currently does not have the permission to access this S3. So let me give that permission, and I will give that permission through IAM role. Again, we have discussed all this in our S3 bucket discussion day before yesterday. So let's see how to do it. So let's go to here. Okay, let me open a new tab for AWS. IAM roles. IAM roles and roles. Let's see how many. I think I already have the role running. Okay, this is the role which I have, right? EC2 access to S3 bucket. Let's see. Let me delete this and create it again, okay? So that someone has missed it, person knows about it. Okay, so this is deleted. So these are the roles, right? So let me create a new role. I'm saying AWS service, use service, choose a use case. EC2, I want to work on EC2. And this is fine. Let's click on next. I want to have the permissions for this EC2 to access the S3 buckets. Okay, S3 full access. And we'll say next. Role name. Let's give it a name. EC2 full access to S3 role. Okay. And this is the bucket policy, permissions and all, and we are good. Create role. Done. Okay, so this role is created. Now go to your EC2 instance, and we have to attach that role to our EC2 instance. Now to do that, you will come here. You have selected this. Go to actions, security, modify IAM roles, and here you will see that role. Okay, just attach it and update. Now your EC2 is able to connect to S3 and it can push your artifacts to it. Now what we'll do is we'll come back this time. Okay, well, now what is pending? The pending part is I need to push my artifacts, right, which is here, to the S3. What was the command to do it? The command was this, which is AWS S3 sync Playwright report, the folder name which you want to push, and now you need, so this is your source folder, and the folder you need to give the path to your bucket. What is your bucket? This is your bucket. Copy. Let's try to run it and see your bucket also, right? It does not have any objects till now. You see, it is able to upload. If you go and check your bucket now, just refresh it. You will see you have index.html. Now try to access this. You will see the report there, right? Now this is a manual step which you did, right? Let's automate this part also. So you have all the report here. So what we'll do is we will do what? We'll just copy this step, right, which we ran. Copy this. Go to our job.
Post build action.
As of now, yeah, you can do it over there also. See, post build actions in Jenkins, right, helps you with the by using some plugins, right? I do not want to use a plugin for it. What I'll do is I'll rather add it as a build step here. Okay.
Okay, build step.
As a build step.
Okay.
As a build step only. So here only, right? I'll just say ampersand, and this will do it. Okay. So let's just save this. And now let's trigger this again to see what happens now. Okay. So let me delete all this, or although it will get overridden, but let me just delete this just to make sure that we understand that part. Permanently delete. Delete objects. These are deleted. Okay, fine. And close this up. We have no objects here, right? Now let's trigger this again. And this time, when you will check, right, over here, it does not have. But as soon as everything completes, right? Oh, it did not execute it. Okay, sorry. I need to disable this. Yeah, this is running, right? You can see the execution is happening. Execution is happening, and so it also passed it, and it is able to push it. Now let us see the report. You will see, right? You see the test case got executed, and you can see how easy it is, right? Just run it from a job. Now someone will ask you, go and run the job, and you already have the URL for it, right? What you can do is just go and trigger it, and once it is done, just access the same URL again, and you can see the report running, right? Okay. What we'll do is now is we have that pipeline also, right? Let's run that pipeline also. Let me open it. Thing. This is a freestyle job, right? In the pipeline, if you go right, where is the pipeline? This one, FS Playwright pipeline. Let's configure this. Where we had the concept of those stages, right? So we'll come here. We don't need to do much things here, right? So we'll have grid branch, credentials ID, and all this. Let me just remove it again and add them these steps again, right? I'll remove all this. I'll say pipeline syntax. Let's first get the git one. It is here, repository URL. Copy this, paste it here. Let us use the branch day 27. Credentials which I will use is Pottis, and let's not do this. Generate pipeline syntax. Copy this, come back to your pipeline and add the step. After this, we wanted to have our the next command, right, which is our shell file. So we'll go up. This is for bat. For shell, we have this one. And you will do what? You will just copy your command, which is here from your freestyle job. Control A, Control C. Come back here, paste it, and just say generate pipeline script. And this is what I got. Control A. Let's just copy this. And here in the next line, I will do this. Okay. And just save this. Now run this also. Let's see what happens. console output. You can see, right? This stage got created, this stage got created. Now again, this is the third stage running test run, right? It will be able to clone the repo. Yes. Install the packages, download all the installers, the custom browsers, and now it is running the test. So this is the output, and it should go in. Let us wait for it. One passed, and it has pushed the, you can see the logs that it has pushed also. And if you go and check the Playwright, you can see the execution, right? You can play the report if you wanted to see what happened, all of this, right? So this is how you do things, right, with Jenkins. And I think we covered a lot of things, right, with Jenkins, and this is how the entire operation works. Okay, so I think we are done, right, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, but again, right, as we are learning this, I can tell you again, there are thousands of ways to do things. Okay, it is just one of the way which I showed you. If you see this here, right, in this pipeline, because it's a pipeline, I have this open ocean glue. If you want to see the pipeline overview, right, you can see this is how the pipeline looks like. It has 3 stages: build, deploy, test, right? So all 3 stages were passed, right? You get this view in a pipeline project only.
Yeah.
And if you want to go inside them, right, you can just click here and just get to know about this, that which command did what, right? And it separates out the logs, right, based on the commands which you execute. So for git, right, this was the log. For the npm install and everything, right, this was the log which you got. Okay, if you want to see the entire log, you just open in the entire thing, and this is what the entire log was for that command. Yeah, please.
So right now we have learned this, for directly for running one single job at a time. There could be, need to, run specific category of test cases, like based on the priority or maybe based on the feature based. So how would we do that when we work with Jenkins or submit a job with?
See,
doing-
the bottom line is it depends, right? What kind of what kind of tooling are you using, right? So let's say if you were using Cucumber, in that case you can provide tags, right? And
Yes.
from the command line, when you what was the command which you ran to execute things? The command was this, right? Let's see. The command was this one, right? Playwright test, this one, right? Let's say if you are using Cucumber and you have you wanted and you have created test cases where you can provide multiple tags, right? I mean tags to every test case. So let's say you have categorized your test cases under smoke and regression, and you wanted to run regression. So there is a way from CLI that you can pass on that information, and once your framework will receive it, it will only run that particular test case, right? Which is matching to the tag. Similarly, in case of Playwright, also you can provide tags, right? And if you would have provided tags, you could pass it from here. And once those are received, right, it could be executed accordingly. Understanding? I think that was the question, right? If you wanted to categorize what we need to run.
And if I want to run only one particular test case of my liking, here this will run like all the tests, right?
See, then you will have to configure your job accordingly, right?
Yeah.
That is how you will do it. What people do is they create environment variables here. Okay. So
Yes.
when you run your job, right? When you run your job, before running the job, right, it will ask you a couple of questions. Okay, what environment to work on, what test case to run on, right? So you
Yes,
can
yes.
enable all of that. How can you
Yeah.
enable it? You can enable it through, I believe, not here. There is a way. If I can
Add
see.
parameters or some options.
Right. There is something. Do not allow pipeline. This project is parameterized. Okay, and you can add all these values.
Yeah, and those
Okay.
parameters then should get updated in your Groovy script too.
Right. You need to use those variables. You need to refer those variables, right, in your Groovy script, and that is how you will pass. So what will happen is user will provide the values while it is building the pipe, when it is building the job, running the job, and whatever value will you give, right? You will have to pass. You will have to write the code here to pass those values here, right? And once they would be given to your framework, it would get executed accordingly. One example of this I can show you in my job is here. I think I have it in one of the job, which is framework job, I believe. Let's see. If I see this configure, do I have the parameters? Okay, come on, man. Yeah, so this project is parameterized, right? So let me show you. So I have taken a variable called environment variable, right? So if you go back and if you click on build with parameters, right, it will ask which parameter do you want to use, right? So I have configured this in my job. And if you would check the job, whatever value the user select, right, I am passing that value because this is the variable which will collect that value, whatever user selects. I am passing that value over here like this, right? And you can pass it like from a CLI to your execution, and that is how you can control your things.
This is a Maven project.
It's a Maven project. It's a Java Selenium project. The framework
Okay.
which I did it for test.
Okay.
Okay. So again, the similar things can be done for your project also. But again, it depends on the needs of the person and more understanding about Jenkins first. How to create environment variables and all, which again I have covered in those videos. Okay. Any other query?
No, I'm good. I'm good as of now.
Okay, great. Okay, so if you're good, let's wrap it up, right? And tomorrow what we'll do is I'll try to wind up that WebDriver IO discussion also. Okay, and get it running. So both our modules are completed. Playwright today has got completed, and WebDriver IO will get completed tomorrow. And from Friday we'll work on Cypress. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much. Let's meet tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.